Did you know that a novel written years before the Titanic disaster described a very similar ship named Titan sinking in a comparable way, and that a delay caused by adjusting his wife's shawl likely saved Napoleon from an assassination attempt? This is just one of many strangest historical coincidences that will send chills down your spine, and we will reveal them all in this video. Be prepared for a truly chilling case. The Erington murders stand as a chilling testament to the power of coincidence. In 1817, 20-year-old Mary Ashford was murdered after attending a local dance. Abraham Thornton, the last person seen with her, was acquitted due to insufficient evidence despite strong suspicion. 157 years later, on the exact same date of May 27, 1974, 20-year-old Barbara Forrest was also murdered in Erington after attending a dance. Her last companion was Michael Thornton, sharing the same surname as Abraham, though no relation was found. Like the first case, Michael was released due to lack of proof. The victims' identical ages, the shared date, the similar circumstances surrounding their deaths, and the suspects' matching surnames create an unsettling parallel. This eerie alignment of events makes the Erington murders a truly baffling enigma, a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of fate. This striking similarity leaves us wondering about the very nature of coincidence. But is it merely chance, or could a different force be at play? The story of Karma Kills is a haunting example of how actions can lead to unforeseen consequences. In the late 19th century, Henry Ziegland thought he had escaped the clutches of fate. After breaking off his engagement, Ziegland's devastated fiancée tragically ended her life. Consumed by grief and anger, her brother sought vengeance, firing a gun at Ziegland. The bullet missed him, embedding itself in a nearby tree. Believing he had avenged his sister, the brother took his own life. Ziegland considered himself lucky to have narrowly avoided death. Years later, he attempted to cut down the same tree using dynamite. The explosion dislodged the forgotten bullet, which struck Ziegland in the head, killing him instantly. This bizarre turn of events serves as a chilling reminder of karmic justice. It underscores the notion that actions, no matter how far in the past, can return in the most unexpected ways. The tale of the two Will Wests is a fascinating case of mistaken identity, revealing the flaws of early identification methods. In 1903, a man named Will West arrived at Leavenworth Penitentiary in Kansas. During processing, officials were shocked to discover his Bertillon measurements, an identification system based on body dimensions, matched another inmate already in the prison, also named Will West. The resemblance was uncanny. The two men shared nearly identical facial features, height, weight, and even similar criminal histories. Initially, authorities believed it was one person using a false name, but further investigation confirmed they were two separate individuals with no familial connection. This bizarre coincidence exposed the shortcomings of the Bertillon system, prompting the adoption of fingerprinting as a more reliable identification method. The case became a landmark moment in forensic science, emphasizing the complexities of coincidence. It also raises questions about fate and chance, bridging us to the next chapter, Napoleon's near miss, a tale of extraordinary survival. Napoleon's near miss recounts a chilling assassination attempt against one of history's most influential figures. On the 24th of December, 1800, royalist conspirators in Paris plotted to eliminate Napoleon Bonaparte using the Machine Infernal, a bomb hidden in a cart. The device was strategically placed along Rue Saint-Nicaise, timed to detonate as Napoleon's carriage passed on his way to the opera. As fate would have it, a minor delay altered Napoleon's schedule. His carriage passed the trap mere moments before the bomb exploded, unleashing devastation across the street. While the blast killed several bystanders and caused extensive damage, Napoleon emerged unscathed. This dramatic event highlights how trivial decisions, perhaps a wardrobe adjustment or a brief conversation, can have monumental consequences. Had the plot succeeded, the course of European history could have been irreversibly changed during the Napoleonic Wars. This remarkable escape underscores the thin line between chance and destiny. It prompts us to wonder, can fortune intervene repeatedly? This question brings us to the story of Joseph Figlock's Double Rescue, a tale of uncanny luck and repeated salvation. Joseph Figlock's story is a breathtaking example of repeated serendipity and extraordinary luck. In the 1930s Detroit, Figlock, a street sweeper, became a local hero in two eerily similar incidents. The first occurred while Figlock was working in an alley when a baby fell from a fourth-story window. Miraculously, the infant landed directly on him. Figlock's presence softened the fall, saving the child from a fatal outcome. Both sustained injuries, but survived. Astonishingly, about a year later, nearly the same scenario played out. Another baby fell from a window and once again landed squarely on Figlock. As before, his presence spared the child's life. These unbelievable events made Figlock a symbol of miraculous timing and improbable coincidence. The rarity of such occurrences makes his story a genuine marvel, leaving people in awe of life's unpredictable nature. This incredible tale of shared experiences and repeated fortune sets the stage for the next chapter. The Jim Twins, an exploration of identity and uncanny connections. The story of the Jim Twins is a remarkable case of nature versus nurture, revealing the profound influence of genetics. Jim Lewis and Jim Springer, identical twins separated at birth and raised by different families, lived eerily parallel lives despite never knowing each other. Both were named James by their adoptive parents and nicknamed Jim. As children, they each had a dog named Toy and a passion for woodworking. Strangely, both first married women named Linda divorced and later remarried women named Betty. Even their sons shared nearly identical names, James Allen and James Allen. Their uncanny similarities extended to habits and preferences. Both drove the same model of Chevrolet, bit their nails, and vacationed at the same Florida beach without ever crossing paths. When reunited at 39, their mirrored lives stunned geneticists and psychologists, becoming a cornerstone in studies of twin behavior. This astonishing narrative leaves us questioning the extent to which genetics shape destiny, seamlessly transitioning to our next chapter. Titanic and Titan, a tale of chilling coincidences and foreboding parallels between two doomed ships. The parallels between the Titanic's disaster and the fictional ship Titan remain one of history's most unsettling coincidences. In 1898, 14 years before the Titanic sank, author Morgan Robertson published Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan. The novella told of a massive, luxurious ocean liner named Titan, deemed unsinkable, which met its end after striking an iceberg in the North Atlantic. The ship sank with heavy casualties, largely due to a lack of lifeboats. When the Titanic struck an iceberg on its maiden voyage in 1912. The similarities to Robertson's fictional account were chilling. Both ships were the largest of their time, carried wealthy passengers, and traveled at high speeds before disaster struck. Even their dimensions were strikingly close. Titan was 800 feet long, while Titanic measured 882 feet. Though Robertson's work likely drew on maritime knowledge rather than prophecy, the eerie parallels have fueled speculation about precognition. This case of life imitating art serves as a haunting reminder of fate's unpredictability. It also leads us to ponder the power of predictions and curses as we explore the next chapter. The Curse of Tecumseh is a chilling tale of presidential misfortune steeped in American folklore. The legend traces back to the 1811 Battle of Tippecanoe, after which Shawnee leader Tecumseh's brother, Tenskwatawa, is said to have cursed William Henry Harrison and future presidents. The curse allegedly targeted those elected in years ending in 0, with a pattern of premature deaths. William Henry Harrison, 1840, died of illness soon after taking office. Abraham Lincoln, 1860, James A. Garfield, 1880, William McKinley, 1900, and John F. Kennedy, 1960, were assassinated. Warren G. Harding, 1920, succumbed to illness, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1940, died of a cerebral hemorrhage. The streak seemed broken when Ronald Reagan, 1980, survived an assassination attempt, and George W. Bush, 2000, completed his presidency unscathed. While skeptics attribute the pattern to coincidence and statistical probability, the legend endures, captivating imaginations with its eerie consistency. This tale raises questions about the potential influence of curses or objects imbued with negative energy, setting the stage for our next chapter. James Dean's Car, a story of tragedy and the mysterious events surrounding an infamous vehicle. James Dean's Porsche 550. Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard, is shrouded in a chilling legend of misfortune. Dean, known for his passion for racing, acquired the silver Porsche in 1955. However, a series of unfortunate events has led many to believe the car was cursed. Before Dean's fatal accident, actor Alec Guinness reportedly warned him about a sinister feeling he had about the car, even predicting Dean's death within a week of driving it. Tragically, on September 30, 1955, just days after obtaining the Porsche, Dean was killed in a car crash while driving it to a race. The supposed curse continued even after Dean's death. Parts from the wrecked car were sold, and vehicles using those parts were involved in accidents, some resulting in fatalities. A garage storing the wreckage caught fire, destroying everything except Little Bastard. Even when the car's remnants were displayed for safety campaigns, they reportedly caused injuries when they inexplicably fell on onlookers. This string of unfortunate incidents, connected to Dean's untimely demise, has cemented the Porsche's reputation as a symbol of bad luck and one of history's most notorious cursed objects. This exploration of a physical object believed to carry a curse now leads us to consider the mysteries surrounding individuals and their potential connection to the unexplained. As we turn to the enigmatic tale of the mysterious monk, weaves an eerie thread through two of history's pivotal assassinations. In 1914, just before Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination in Sarajevo ignited World War I, witnesses described a monk in a brown robe observing the crowd near the scene. Decades later, in 1963, during the chaos surrounding President John F. Kennedy's assassination in Dallas, similar accounts surfaced of a robed monk among the bystanders. The striking parallels between these sightings, despite the vast time and geographical gap, have fueled intense speculation. Some theorists propose fantastical ideas, such as time travel or the monk as a symbol of fate. Others suggest the figure could be a harbinger of death. Skeptics, however, dismiss these accounts as coincidences or misinterpretations brought on by the stress of traumatic events. Though evidence of the monk's identity remains elusive, this enigmatic figure has become a focal point for conspiracy theories and historical intrigue. It invites us to consider the mysterious interplay of foresight and symbolism, guiding us toward the next chapter. A painting that predicted Hitler's evil, where we delve into the unsettling world of prophetic art. A painting that predicted Hitler's evil. The Tale of Der Krieg, The War, a painting by Austrian artist Franz von Stuck, is a chilling intersection of art and history. Painted in 1910, this haunting work depicts chaos and destruction, with a central demonic figure orchestrating the turmoil. Decades later, Adolf Hitler's rise to power and the atrocities of World War II cast an eerie shadow over the painting. The central figure in Der Krieg bore an uncanny resemblance to Hitler, sharing similar facial features and an intense, sinister gaze. Adding to the mystique, von Stuck was reportedly among Hitler's favorite artists, and the painting's themes of war and domination seemed to foreshadow Hitler's destructive ambitions. Whether the resemblance was coincidence, an unconscious influence on Hitler, or a genuine premonition remains a subject of speculation. Yet Der Krieg endures as a symbol of how art can appear to foresee humanity's darkest chapters. This unsettling narrative of foreboding imagery leads us to the next chapter, The Cannibalized Boy, a haunting account of survival, desperation, and the depths of human endurance. The harrowing story of The Cannibalized Boy blends fiction with reality, delving into morality and fate. In 1884, the English yacht Mignonette sank in the South Atlantic, leaving 4 men stranded in a lifeboat with few supplies. After enduring weeks of starvation, they were forced to kill and eat the youngest crew member, 17-year-old cabin boy Richard Parker, to survive. This decision led to a highly publicized trial, establishing the legal precedent that necessity does not justify taking a human life. What makes the tragedy even more unsettling is its striking similarity to a fictional account written decades earlier. In 1838, Edgar Allan Poe's novel, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, depicted a near-identical shipwreck scenario, where sailors resorted to cannibalism with a cabin boy named Richard Parker as the victim. The eerie parallel has perplexed historians and literary experts for years, raising questions of whether life imitated art or if it was an uncanny twist of fate. Regardless, the story of Richard Parker remains one of the most unsettling examples of history mirroring fiction. This chilling account of fate and fiction now leads us to the intertwined history of 2 founding fathers, the story of Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. The intertwined lives of Thomas Jefferson and John Adams form one of the most extraordinary coincidences in American history, marked by friendship, rivalry, and destiny. Both played key roles as founding fathers, signing the Declaration of Independence and later serving as the second and third presidents of the United States. Despite differing political views that often placed them at odds, their lives were inextricably linked. The most striking aspect of their story is the synchronicity of their deaths. Both Jefferson and Adams died on 4th July, 1826, precisely 50 years after the Declaration of Independence was signed. The coincidence of 2 pivotal figures passing on such a significant anniversary has captivated historians and the public for centuries. Adding to the intrigue, Adams's last words were, "Thomas Jefferson survives," unaware that Jefferson had passed just hours earlier at Monticello. Their deaths on Independence Day sealed their legacies as symbols of the nation's founding principles. This remarkable coincidence has led many to wonder whether fate played a role in the timing of their passing. This extraordinary convergence now leads us to explore another eerie pattern of untimely deaths. The 27 Club. The 27 Club represents a chilling phenomenon in modern music and popular culture, referring to a group of exceptionally talented artists who tragically died at the age of 27. Many of these individuals, often musicians, actors, or other creative figures, passed away under eerily similar circumstances, such as substance abuse, mental health struggles, or other mysterious causes. The concept of this club gained prominence in the late 1960s and early 1970s when a disproportionate number of iconic rock stars died at this age. The deaths of Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison within a short period cemented the idea of a curse surrounding 27. Later, the deaths of Kurt Cobain in 1994 and Amy Winehouse in 2011 reignited attention on this tragic pattern. What makes the 27 Club so unsettling is the combination of extraordinary talent and troubled lives. Tumultuous, often ending at the height of their fame, While some attribute this phenomenon to astrology, numerology, or supernatural forces, others suggest the intense pressures of fame and the vulnerabilities of youth play a critical role. Though statistically an anomaly, the club continues to remind us of the fragility of life and the darker side of celebrity. This exploration of untimely deaths now turns the page to examine an unlikely connection between a famous author and a suspected spy. The association between Norman Mailer and a Russian spy presents a bizarre instance where fiction and reality converged in an unexpected and eerie way. In 1951, celebrated American novelist Norman Mailer authored Barbary Shore, a novel featuring a Russian spy as a key character. At the time, Mailer had no direct knowledge of espionage or any contact with spies. The story seemed entirely a product of his imagination, until an astonishing revelation. After completing the manuscript, it came to light that a genuine Russian spy operating under the codename Alexander Rado had been living in the same boarding house where Mailer had been writing. The similarities between Mailer's fictional spy and the real spy, residing unbeknownst to him in the very same building, were uncanny. Mailer later confessed that he had no knowledge of the spy's presence during the writing process. This unexpected mirroring of fiction and reality has sparked speculation about the power of intuition, subconscious influence, or simply the chance convergence of events. The Norman Mailer Russian spy connection continues to intrigue, serving as a captivating example of how life sometimes eerily imitates art. This exploration of unlikely connections now turns to the striking parallels between two iconic presidents. The striking parallels between John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln remain among the most well-known and unsettling historical coincidences. Though separated by a century, these two U.S. presidents share a remarkable number of similarities that continue to captivate historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Lincoln was elected president in 1860, and Kennedy followed suit 100 years later in 1960. Both presidents were assassinated on a Friday while sitting beside their wives, and both met their tragic ends from gunshot wounds to the head. Lincoln at Ford's Theater and Kennedy in a Ford-manufactured Lincoln limousine. The coincidences extend beyond these pivotal moments. Both presidents were succeeded by vice presidents named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, born in 1808 after Lincoln, and Lyndon B. Johnson, born in 1908 after Kennedy. Both championed civil rights, and their assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, shared the odd characteristic of having 3 names, each with a total of 15 letters. Furthermore, both assassins met violent deaths before standing trial. While most historians attribute these parallels to coincidence rather than a grand conspiracy, the sheer volume of similarities continues to provoke speculation about fate and the curious patterns embedded in history. This examination of parallel lives now transitions to a darker exploration of interconnected deaths. The cases of Catherine Eddowes and Mary Kelly. The parallels between John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln stand as one of history's most striking examples of coincidental similarities. Despite living a century apart, the lives of these two U.S. presidents share an uncanny number of parallels. Lincoln was elected president in 1860, while Kennedy was elected in 1960, exactly 100 years later. Both were assassinated on a Friday while seated next to their wives. Both were killed by gunshots to the head. Lincoln at Ford's Theater and Kennedy in a Ford-manufactured Lincoln limousine. Furthermore, both were succeeded by vice presidents named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, born in 1808, followed Lincoln, and Lyndon B. Johnson, born in 1908, succeeded Kennedy. The coincidences extend further. Both presidents were deeply concerned with civil rights, and their assassins' names, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, each contained 15 letters. Both assassins also met violent ends before facing trial. while historians largely attribute these parallels to coincidence rather than conspiracy. The sheer number of similarities between Lincoln and Kennedy continues to fuel speculation about fate and the strange patterns that sometimes emerge in history. The story of the King's Double offers a truly bizarre instance where reality seems to echo itself in an almost unbelievable fashion. In 1900, King Umberto I of Italy encountered a startling sight while dining at a small restaurant in Monza. The restaurant's owner not only bore a striking physical resemblance to the king, but also shared his name. Further examination revealed even more uncanny parallels. Both men were born on the same day, in the same town, and had married women with the same name. Adding to the strangeness, the restaurant's opening coincided with Umberto's ascension to the throne. The eerie nature of this encounter reached its climax the following day. King Umberto received news that his doppelganger had died in a mysterious accident. That very evening, during a public appearance, the king himself was assassinated. The close proximity of their deaths, occurring within hours of each other, has led many to speculate about a mystical connection between the two men. Whether this was a mere confluence of extraordinary coincidences or a twist of fate remains a captivating historical mystery. This story of strikingly similar lives and deaths now leads us to explore another type of connection, a pattern of misfortune associated with a fictional character. The Superman curse describes a disturbing pattern of misfortune that has plagued individuals connected to the iconic superhero. While Superman embodies hope and heroism, many who have brought the character to life have experienced inexplicable hardship. This pattern began with the creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, who sold the rights to Superman for a mere $130 and subsequently spent decades fighting for proper recognition and financial compensation. The actors who portrayed Superman also faced tragedy. George Reeves, star of the 1950s Adventures of Superman television series, died under mysterious circumstances in 1959. His death was ruled a suicide, though questions remain. Christopher Reeve, who became synonymous with the role in the 1978 film, suffered a devastating horse riding accident in 1995, resulting in paralysis. His death in 2004 further solidified the curse's notoriety. Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane alongside Reeve, endured struggles with mental health and periods of homelessness before her passing in 2018. Even Lee Quigley, who portrayed Baby Superman in the 1978 film, died tragically at the young age of 14. While many dismiss the curse as mere coincidence, the recurring pattern of misfortune associated with the Superman franchise has made it one of Hollywood's most enduring and perplexing mysteries. This exploration of misfortunes linked to a specific role now leads us to examine a different type of connection. A statistical anomaly in the world of sports, the world of cricket, often lauded for its sportsmanship and tradition, also holds its share of peculiar coincidences, and the careers of Michael Clarke and Alistair Cook provide a compelling illustration. These two celebrated cricketers, one representing Australia and the other England, share a remarkable number of parallels that have not gone unnoticed by fans of the sport. Both players made their international debuts in 2004, making immediate impacts and swiftly ascending to captaincy of their respective national teams. Both were renowned for their exceptional batting skills, leading their sides through some of the most intense Ashes series in cricket history. Their tenures as captains were marked by both victories and difficulties, and both faced periods of intense scrutiny during dips in their performance. Perhaps the most striking aspect of their careers is how closely they mirrored each other's overall trajectory. Clarke and Cook played their final test matches in 2015 and 2018, respectively, each departing the game in memorable fashion. Clarke retired on a high note with an Ashes series victory in 2015, while Cook scored a century in his final test match. The symmetry of their careers, from their initial appearances to their leadership roles, their triumphs and setbacks, and ultimately their retirements, makes their shared story a captivating coincidence in cricket history, almost as if destiny had designed their paths to reflect one another. This examination of mirrored careers now leads us to explore another unusual connection, this time between two prominent figures from vastly different fields. The lives of Enzo Ferrari, the iconic founder of the Ferrari automotive empire, and Mesut Ozil, the accomplished footballer, are separated by time, yet linked by a truly uncanny coincidence. Enzo Ferrari passed away on August 14, 1988, leaving behind a legacy that transformed the automotive landscape. Just 1 month later, on October 15, 1988, Mesut Ozil was born. While this chronological proximity might seem unremarkable at first, the striking physical resemblance between the two men is what truly captivates. Their facial features share such remarkable similarities that many have jokingly suggested Ozil might be Ferrari's reincarnation. This eerie likeness has fueled speculation about reincarnation and other metaphysical connections, with some even theorizing that Ferrari's creative energy somehow transferred to Ozil. While such notions lack scientific validation, the visual similarity between these two figures has fascinated fans of both motorsports and football, though their chosen fields of expertise were vastly different, one dominating the racetrack, the other the football pitch. This bizarre coincidence transcends generational boundaries, prompting reflection on whether there is more to this story than meets the eye. This exploration of striking physical resemblances now leads us to consider the curious case of the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustus. The story of Romulus Augustus, often recognized as the last Roman emperor of the West, is steeped in strange coincidences that mark the conclusion of a vast and influential empire. His narrative is not only tragic, but also laden with symbolic weight. Romulus Augustus ascended to power in 475 AD as a young boy, essentially a figurehead controlled by his father, Orestes. The significance of his name lies in its historical resonance. Romulus was the mythical founder of Rome, while Augustus was its first emperor. The fact that the final emperor of the Western Roman Empire carried this name feels like a deliberate, almost poetic conclusion to the empire's rise and fall. Romulus Augustus's reign was brief, lasting barely a year. In 476 AD, he was deposed by Odoacer, a Germanic chieftain who chose not to assume the imperial title, effectively signaling the end of the Western Roman Empire. Rather than facing execution, Romulus was spared and spent the remainder of his life in relative obscurity, a quiet epilogue to a once powerful title. The chilling symmetry of his name and the empire's collapse during his brief reign makes Romulus Augustus a haunting historical coincidence, as if destiny itself had cast him as a symbol of Rome's final chapter. This exploration of symbolic endings now leads us to consider the potential consequences of disturbing the final resting place of a powerful historical figure as we turn our attention to the story of Tamerlane's tomb. The tomb of Tamerlane, also known as Timur, a 14th century Central Asian conqueror, is linked to one of history's most unsettling coincidences. The events surrounding its excavation in 1941 left a chilling mark on history. Tamerlane was interred in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, within a mausoleum bearing a stark warning: "Whoever disturbs my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." Despite this ominous inscription, Soviet archaeologists, under the direction of Mikhail Gerasimov, opened the tomb on June 20, 1941. Inside, they examined Timur's remains, confirming the physical impairments that earned him the moniker Tamerlane the Lame. Just 2 days later, on June 22, Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive and brutal invasion of the Soviet Union. The close proximity of these two events led many to believe that the ancient curse had been invoked. This coincidence took on an even more eerie dimension when, after years of devastating warfare, Tamerlane's remains were reburied with appropriate Islamic ceremonies in 1942. Shortly thereafter, the tide of World War II began to turn in favor of the Soviets with their victory at the Battle of Stalingrad. Was this sequence of events purely coincidental, or did it represent a fulfillment of the ancient curse? Tamerlane's tomb continues to serve as a spine-chilling reminder of history's enigmas. This exploration of earthly events potentially influenced by the past now turns our gaze to the heavens as we examine a remarkable cosmic coincidence. One of nature's most astonishing and perplexing coincidences lies in the apparent sizes of the moon and the sun as viewed from Earth. Despite their vastly different actual dimensions and distances, these celestial bodies appear nearly identical in size in our sky. This extraordinary alignment is precisely what makes total solar eclipses possible, a phenomenon that has intrigued astronomers and thinkers for centuries. The Sun is approximately 400 times larger than the Moon, yet it is also roughly 400 times farther away. This precise ratio results in both appearing to have almost the same angular diameter when observed from our planet. It is a remarkable cosmic happenstance that allows the Moon to perfectly obscure the Sun's disk during a total solar eclipse, revealing only the Sun's luminous corona. This alignment, however, is not permanent. The Moon is gradually receding from Earth at a rate of approximately 3.8 centimeters each year. In several hundred million years, it will no longer appear large enough to completely eclipse the Sun. The fact that we exist during an epoch where this remarkable alignment occurs feels like an incredible stroke of fortune, or perhaps something more profound. It serves as a reminder of the universe's inherent mysteries and the ephemeral nature of such cosmic events.